Jai Sachidanand. I bow down to the absolute pure soul within all of you with utmost devotion and oneness. Namaskar, Namaskar, Namaskar. Jai Sachidanand. Let's read further.
Jai Sachidanand, page 71, heading Forgive the Prakriti. Questioner, in your satsang, there is a statement of yours that one's own Prakriti, non-self complex, should be forgiven, but Upranu, to side with, the Prakriti should not be done. It should not be defended. Please explain this demarcation using examples.
Please explain this demarcation with examples.
Dadashri, if you side with and defend it, then you are indeed with the Prakriti. Thus, you have become the owner of the non-self, the Par. If the Prakriti has done something wrong, then it can be forgiven. This is because you remain in the realm of the self, and then you are able to forgive it. Whereas for that, defending yourself, you have come into the realm of the non-self to do it. One becomes the owner of the non-self. No matter what kind of mistake has been committed, it can be forgiven. To forgive, that can be done if one remains separate. Whereas if one defends, one indeed becomes the owner of the non-self and then does it. To defend oneself means it is not only done when one becomes the owner of the non-self. One has become partial to that side, has he not? And to forgive.
So the Prakriti has made a mistake here. For example, some people have these mistakes of the speech, of the conduct, these faults of it keeps bothering you that, oh, I heard them in this way, I made such a big mistake, so you keep, criticizing the Prakriti, and you say, oh, I'm going to fast for a few days now because of that. Now, all of those solutions, when you don't forgive the Prakriti, oh, why did he make such a mistake? Actually, it's a stock of fill karma that is emptying out. It was a fault at the time of the causes. In the effect, it cannot be called a fault. And there you keep criticizing that, oh, why is it happening like this and why is it still happening? So instead, Dada is saying that, no, forgive the Prakriti, that no, you don't have any attachment for it nor abhorrence for it. And here, where we are criticizing it, there is abhorrence for it. So when you have like suffering because of something that is done bad, then the Ankar, the ego, keeps criticizing the Prakriti. Instead of that, forgive the Prakriti. That whether it's good or bad, it has got nothing to do with me. You are separate and I am separate. So you stay in the realm of the pure soul and you forgive the Prakriti. And when you protect it, you're actually becoming the owner, that I am that Prakriti and I am the owner of that. If somebody's shown you the mistake, then you'll say, oh, I didn't do it. Somebody else must have done that. So you become the form of the Prakriti, you become engrossed in the Prakriti, and then you protect the mistake. Whereas over here, you're actually becoming in the form of the pure soul, and then you're able to forgive the Prakriti. And this is actually, it is a state of becoming natural and spontaneous, to become sahaj. Dada is trying to take us to a very high state. Don't criticize the Prakriti. Instead, just see it and let go of it. Settle it with equanimity. Prakriti means it's a stock of filled karma, and we've filled it up with so much. We've filled it up like right to the brim. Now if the rotten stuff comes out and you keep screaming and shouting because of it, then there's no point in doing that. Actually, it's some kind of illusionary attachment that you stay on the side of the Prakriti, and then you're shouting that, oh, it's only me and it's happening to me. So the discharge which is happening in there is I-ness in there. That is why you're trying to go and improve it, and that's why you're trying to you're remaining in suffering. So this is what we want to bring gradually, that whether there's no hatred over the things that are bad and there's no attachment over the things that are good. You just know what is happening. And yes, wherever there is something that's happening that's hurting other people, then you tell, I want to do pratikraman and clear it off. Otherwise, you don't want to do any kind of interference. To criticize the Prakriti is called an interference.
Questioner, the Prakriti can be forgiven. So in that, what does it mean to remain in one's own nature? Dadashri, no matter how wrong the Prakriti is, there is no higher approach than forgiving it. All other approaches lead to one becoming engrossed. Therefore, if you are able to forgive it, then you have remained separate. If the Prakriti is bad and you defend it, then you have gone on its side. If one defends the Prakriti, then the Prakriti advances. The Prakriti that comes forth is indeed convenient for you. That is considered as having attachment. To take Upranu, defend oneself, means to have attachment for the Prakriti. To defend is also considered attachment. Questioner. Forgive this very Prakriti. What does that mean? Dadashi. The one doing pratikraman is indeed doing it, is he not? So he is asking for the forgiveness for the fault that has happened. Thus, one is doing pratikraman, one doing pratikraman is a Prakriti, and one who forgives is God. So the one who asks for forgiveness is separate, and the one who forgives is separate. The two have no other relationship in this. Whereas in defending, there is actually a very big relationship. If there is a big, powerful relationship, then the act of defending happens. Questioner. Yes, without attachment, he will not defend it. Dadashi. Call it attachment or whatever else. But the biggest relationship is if one becomes the owner of the non-self. Then he will definitely defend it. Besides being the owner of the non-self,
When you become the owner, so what has happened in the past life when you became the owner of that Prakriti, the doer of that Prakriti, when you sowed that seed, that is the same state you're getting it in this life. You become like an ignorant state when you defend your mistakes. But because this is Akram Vignan, now you actually know that it is Deepak that is defending his own Prakriti. This is wrong and I am not that. I am separate from that. That Deepak is separate and I am separate. So if Deepak is defending his mistake and you see that, then according to Akram Vignan, we are not considered to be at fault.
Questioner. Then is the Prakriti not to be nurtured or defended? Dadashi. Yes. Do not defend it means that after becoming the self, to then take Upranu, defend the Prakriti, is considered wrong, isn't it? If excessive defending is done, then one has indeed taken on that side. This difficulty has indeed arisen by protecting this Prakriti, by taking these Upranus, defending, and with Pratikraman it is washed off. Questioner. The vision that you gave us is a vision to cleanse. Yet why is it that one ends up defending the Prakriti? Dadashi. That is only because you are still on the side of the Prakriti. We cannot defend the Prakriti. From wherever the fault of the Prakriti is seen, from then on there is the readiness that, when can it immediately be forgiven? Even now, if a pranu is taken, then it is a grave fault. When one covers it up, that too is an upranu. That is the fault. If you say, Dada, this is wrong, then I should let you know that, brother, this is wrong. If I use other words to defend myself, if I present arguments, then that is a fault. Questioner. To cover that up is a weakness? Dadashi. That is definitely a weakness. That is definitely considered a fault. Questioner. And Dada, the Prakriti of another person can be forgiven, but can one forgive one's own Prakriti? Dadashi. That can be done for sure. One should indeed forgive it. If you do not forgive it, then there is no other approach through which it is this straightforward. Questioner. Dada, but this forgiveness, it means it is a kind of judgment. Dadashi. Yes, call it judgment or whatever else you want. This judgment is dependent on the Prakriti, whereas here, in Jnana, there is no judgment. It is considered judgment where there is trade-off of egos. Questioner. Questioner. In which way can the Prakriti be forgiven? Dadashi. There is no irritation or anything towards it. Do not be irritated towards your own Prakriti. Do not defend it. And to forgive it means there is no attachment towards it, no abhorrence. There is vitrakta. The bad will indeed come out. Sometimes even the Prakriti of the Jnani may turn out to be bad, but we, the Jnani Purush, become vitrag, free from attachment towards it immediately.
Do you all understand this? That there are so many types of suffering will just go away because of that. When you sit in the vehicle of the Prakriti and then you try and make it still, it will not happen. So when you protect or defend the Prakriti, you become the owner of the Prakriti. You defend the Prakriti and you're still trying to improve the Prakriti. It's the wrong thing is happening, so you're having a hatred towards that. And so the egoism to improve it is arising. And when you protect it or defend it, at that point in time, the ego is also arising. And so both of them are going into the realm of the non-self, of the Prakriti. When you get irritated with the Prakriti, that is also wrong. Dada has shown us a beautiful way that this Prakriti, don't put brakes on the Prakriti, but handle the self, put the handle on the self. We are asking for the rituals of asking for the energy or be the knower and seer, but this is another thing, that over here, ask for the energy, that this is going wrong, so give me the strength, Dada Bhagwan, not to do this mistake. If you say this 5 to 25 times, there will be a change there. So you have no attachment or abhorrence over the Prakriti. You want to settle it with equanimity. There is no attachment over the good things and no abhorrence towards the bad things. You want to maintain equanimity and settle it. And over here, in the good things, you're actually liking it and you have so much interest in it. And when the bad things come out, there's so much abhorrence that comes out. Oh, this, how bad it came out. And over here, in the good things, if you don't have attachment, and in the bad, you don't have abhorrence, then there will be equanimity. Whether it's things you're eating or whether it's discharge that's happening in the form of going to the bathroom, then, there's no point in having any attachment or abhorrence over that. Instead, keep it separate. Keep it as an object to be known. And when you see the mistakes of the Prakriti, that is actually known as seeing. To see your own mistakes, that the Prakriti is formed in this way. If you see that, then when you see that mistake, then you become separate and the mistake is falling off. And when you do attachment or abhorrence, then you're actually making a mincemeat out of that mistake, and that mistake will remain standing. We talked about forgiving the Prakriti, and whatever stain has actually fallen, you need to clear off that stain. You need to do some work to do that. Yes, you have to clear off the stain, but there is no point in having abhorrence towards it. That who is the one who's making the mistake over here? It is the Prakriti. So it is the ego part of the Prakriti. So you tell the ego that, come on, you do Pratikraman and clear it off. So you tell Ketan, wash this off. There's no point in you getting irritated over him. If you get irritated, then you're in his side. I should not be seen as bad, and I look so bad otherwise. So you are actually protecting it, and you're having abhorrence towards it. In this case, when you want to forgive the Prakriti, then for example, if a leaf falls from the tree, then will you go and see who did it, who put it? No, there's no claim from my side. Whether the worst kind of unhappiness comes my way, or you put me in the most difficulty, you don't see anybody at fault whatsoever. I am just understanding that it is my result of my own account of my own karmas. That is why this is happening to me. When you see somebody at fault, that is when you need to forgive. But here actually you have to have natural and spontaneous forgiveness. You don't have to give forgiveness. There is natural and spontaneous forgiveness because you're not at fault whatsoever. For example, if your child is not passing his exams and you get the postman comes and give the post to you, and if the postman says, the Diwali has come a bit early to your house, then will you blame the postman over there? You've come, you've given me the post, here, take your money and go away. But here, actually you're seeing the postman at fault over here, and we are scolding him. No. Whether it is the opposite person's Prakriti or whether it's your own, nobody is at fault here. The two statues are banging together with each other because of attraction. Whose fault are you going to take out for this? And Dada has taken out this beautiful discovery that you can become completely free of attachment or abhorrence over here, detached, completely detached. And over here it's coming that the Prakriti itself, whether if he was doing this kind of destruction that he was doing, you can see the Prakriti speaking all of these things, and you can see that. And then Prakriti will say that, who are you to tell me something? And then Dada says, I am the embodiment of absolute knowledge. So he knows that the Prakriti is something to be known and seen and nothing more than that. You don't need to go and criticize it or have a commotion over it or tell him, come on, what's wrong with you? And this is the mistake Mahatmas are making. Why is anger still happening? The person was insulting me and I erupted up. No, it is the Prakriti that is erupting up, and it is the stock of field karma that is dissipating. After a little while, you can talk to him and say that, you erupted in this way, come on, go and ask for forgiveness, you hurt the other person. So in the discharge, when you take out the mistakes of the discharge, that is what you were doing in the ignorant state. Now in the knowledge state, become like the Jnani, become like the state of the Jnani. Now the abhorrence that we're having towards the bad part, is it the part of the pride or is it the subtle level of I-ness? It's actually become the owner. He's saying that I'm the one who's doing it. It is called discharge illusionary conduct, charitramo. He's believing that I am doing all of that. If somebody else is doing the same kind of mistake, then what will you do? Will you do anything about it? They're saying, we are the ones with knowledge. We shouldn't do these kind of things for anyone. Do we not tell them that? And when we do it, then you get bothered about it, that, oh, why is it still happening like this? So that part, that ownership over there, the sense of ownership, you need to become free of that sense of ownership. Become separate from that sense of ownership. But right now, you're becoming the owner of the Prakriti. Imagine there's a lot of sense of ownership that we need to let go of going further. So if you become separate at this point, then only will you actually experience the freedom, and you will come to the clear and distinct experience of the pure soul. And these are the different connections or the touch points with the Prakriti. That's where we need to come into the awareness of separation there. Now this abhorrence that is arising, what level is it at? Is it at the subtler level? It is at the subtler level, sukshmatar level. When it happens at the subtler level, we are not aware that it is happening. Before we should realize, or we become aware that it has happened, and I am separate from that. You pick up the abhorrence from there. Whatever stock of filth karma there is, it is going to come out. It's a good thing that you saw it. The fact that you saw your mistake, you should be happy. You should give a party. Oh, today I saw Ketan's mistakes. Let's give a party today. So what mistake you could not see before, you're actually able to see it. So is that something to be happy about, or is that something to be unhappy about? You say, oh, my vision has actually cleared. This light in my house has increased. My number of my spectacles has dropped down. I can see my faults now, and I should be so fortunate that, oh, I should be in bliss, that, oh, I can see my mistakes. So get rid of that lack of understanding that you have. This is the great science that Dada has opened up for us. And only then can you remain vitrag, absolutely detached. And whether the world likes it or does not like it, yet I am not the doer in anything. And that is a kind of detachment, the vitragta that you can keep. The other thing I wanted to ask is that you talked about the 5 levels that you've given us. In the same way, in the Prakriti, the science of the Prakriti that we've got on page 133, can we see some kind of level? This forgiving the Prakriti is of a very high level. Over here, is there any kind of level we can give to the Prakriti, that first you see the Prakriti as separate, and then you don't have attachment or abhorrence over the Prakriti, then you keep watching, continuously seeing the Prakriti, don't actually criticize the Prakriti. First, if the Prakriti hurts anyone, then you tell Ketan. Ketan Bhai means the Prakriti. So you tell Ketan that, look, if you've hurt other people, then ask for forgiveness. That's the first level. Then the second level, that if the Prakriti is doing something wrong and you feel some kind of suffering, or if somebody blames you and yet you get some kind of suffering, oh, I'm so bad, you feel like that, oh, they spoke so negatively for me like this. No, they're not talking about you, they're talking for Deepak like this. So this is the second level. First become separate, and then get rid of the lack of understanding, your misunderstanding. Then that suffering will reduce. Then the third party is saying that, oh, where the Prakriti finds any kind of sweetness, you don't take sweetness in that. And then make the Prakriti very mild, make it very bland. That is the third level, where you don't feel any sweetness in the effect that is arising. You say that, what is the happiness in taking any sweetness out of this? So then the fourth level is not to get engrossed, that you don't have the discharge, ego is there. With the lack of awareness, you're becoming one with the Prakriti. So now you become separate from that. And with the lack of understanding, you're also becoming engrossed in that. So pick up that. And then the fifth level is to be the knower and seer. So all these talk of the Prakriti is coming in the 5 levels. Now these 4 steps, the upranu, to side with your mistakes, is the 4th step. That whatever bad things of the Prakriti is, or whether it is a fault which is of sweetness, or whether it is a fault of bitterness. For example, if you have anger, or if you have illusionary attachment, check and see the effects of all of those things. There is no value in this whatsoever. There is no reason whatsoever that I should do a clash with anyone for that. That there is no reason over here whatsoever that I should have illusionary attachment over anything. And when you devalue it, then the eyes will see it and the mind will think about it, but you will have no interest in that, oh, that there's enjoyment in this, or there is abhorrence in this. So you will have no attachment or abhorrence. So in this 5 steps and 4 levels, we get, 5 levels and 4 steps, we learn how to clear everything and how to come into the state as a real self. We get all the steppings and the link for coming into that.
Whatever happens to the Prakriti, what is that? It is something that has come into unfolding. Whatever the Prakriti has had to experience is what you are experiencing. When I may say something, but then in my mind I feel, why did I say that? But I do not have a say in it, because whatever has already materialized in the Prakriti will indeed be spoken by it, which I am simply to keep saying. Did you understand what I am trying to convey, or did you not understand completely? If this is not,
Is it something you can understand? This is so beautiful, this explanation that we're getting, that you should settle the Prakriti with equanimity. The sambhav, the equanimity is here. This is where we need to bring it. And only then will we not refrain from staying in the state of the pure soul. If the Prakriti goes into the mud, then should you cut off your leg? No, you should say that, oh, come on, wash your leg off. You're not the owner of the leg. So the part that is getting dirty is the pudgal, and the leg is of the pudgal. So the pudgal cannot touch you. So you tell it, go put the shampoo and go and clear it up, and you will clean it and make it nice and bright. So wherever the Prakriti does the worst kind of things, so whether it's a good habit or whether it's a bad habit, it is all a wrong belief. It is a Bhranti. And I am completely free from that. That is the kind of pure soul that I am. Whether there is a demerit karma or there is merit karma, all of that is wrong belief, and I am the pure soul that is completely separate from that. Whether it's a conduct of merit karma or whether it's a conduct of demerit karma, whether it's a good habit or whether it's a bad habit, when you become separate from that, at that point in time, the power is being pulled away from the Prakriti, and then it remains as discharge in the form of Paramanus, and the Paramanus will give effect and fall off or shed off. And this is the science. When you become separate and you see the Prakriti as separate, then only will that Prakriti exhaust.
heading, Be pleased when faults are seen. Who can bind the one who does not?
Over here is saying that we can actually forgive your own Prakriti as well as the other Prakriti. The other Prakriti should be forgiven because it is not at fault whatsoever. But what happens over here? You keep seeing the faults. That, oh, he came and told me this. He did this in front of everyone for me. He did this injustice to me. Or he's doing something wrong over here. All of those things, we don't have any right to see all of that. It is a stock of fill karma of Chandu that is discharged, and he as a pure soul is completely pure. Whose mistake are you going to take out over here? So wherever you see anybody's mistakes, you see anybody's negative, first of all understand that it is your own intellect, it is your own ego. If you have the insistence of keeping everything clean, then you will see the people who make a mess at fault. If you have some kind of attachment that I should get this kind of thing, and when you don't get it, then you keep saying that, oh, these people, it's because of these people I don't get it, and you see them at fault. So wherever you have any kind of fault of your own, that is why you're seeing other people at fault. So first clear your fault, empty your fault out, and then set the understanding, set the vision that nobody is at fault whatsoever. Dada used to say that when I come into Ambalal Bhai, then I can see the world as with fault. And when I stay as Dada Bhagwan, then I can see the world as faultless or flawless. And now when we see anybody's faults, we take anybody's mistakes, we see anybody's negative, then you're actually coming to the state of Deepak. You become into the form of the body. You become engrossed in the body. And for infinite lives we've been in this state, and now from that state we're trying to come into the state of the pure soul. So we do not want to miss out over here. If you see anybody's faults, then you're saying that, oh, well, you want to stay as a Prakriti or do you want to remain as a pure soul? So now you become separate, and then you pick on the Prakriti and say, why are you seeing faults over here? It's Deepak's ego and Deepak's intellect that is seeing faults. And if you become in the form of Deepak, then you will see everybody at fault. But if I become separate, then I can tell him that, why are you seeing something wrong? Why don't you see pure? Why don't you see flawless? And when you can see that, then your state will come into the pure focused awareness in Shuddha Pure. And when you see the awareness, when you see that Deepak is seeing somebody at fault and you become aware of that, then you are in awareness. But if you are not even aware that Deepak is seeing faults of other people, then you're actually incurring a loss. In the place where you could actually incur a profit, there you're incurring a loss. So actually, worldly life is like a big furnace. So if you're in your house, you're going from your bed to your table and from your table to the bed. But when you've come over here, you've come into the group of doing service with people, or you've come into this group of satsang, you're going to have some kind of clash that is going to happen. The people who are doing the work, there will be some kind of interference that is happening, and that is the stock of fill karma that is erupting, and that is where the awareness should happen. When I was at home, nothing was happening, but over here the clash has happened and it has erupted. But in that clash, the evidence is not at fault. It is my fault that has come out, and I've got a chance to clear my faults over here. And any kind of clash that has happened, if we've seen somebody at fault, then over there we've actually incurred a loss. And then we tell other people, oh, did you know that? You know, that person did that. These people who are these big organizers, look at the interference that they're doing. They're not staying in knowledge. look at that, you spoke negatively about anybody else, you've incurred such a great loss. Wherever you had to actually incur a profit, you incurred a loss. So actually this is an occasion that in this clash, if my fault has arisen, I want to clear it. Which agnya should I set? Which knowledge should I set so that I can become clear of this fault? Which knowledge of which sentence of Dada should I use that will help me clear that? And if I don't use the knowledge there, and if I keep seeing faults of other people there, then how can we even talk about forgiving the Prakriti? That if somebody is physically giving us, directly hurting us, putting us directly in a difficulty, he is directly insulting us, even after 2 hours, from my side, that is natural and spontaneous forgiveness. Because after, what is the indication that you have attained the real self? There is natural and spontaneous forgiveness. The world is finding everyone at fault, and here you are having natural and spontaneous forgiveness. And in which way can this person actually go on the path of liberation and attain freedom is what his what his heart is in. And over here, if we don't remain with the knowledge, then how will the people around us become those with knowledge? Over here, they will start putting a cross for Dada, for our satsang, when we don't become aware of these things. So we should set the awareness that no matter what kind of negativity I see, it is my ego and my intellect that is showing me the negativity. It is my own faults that are showing me the negative of other people. And there I want to go with Jnana, that I want to become separate. And the one who is seeing at fault, you tell him that you are the one who is suffering, so it is your fault. Why are you seeing wrong in there? Whatever is happening is correct. It is vyavasthit. It's nobody at fault over here whatsoever. No, whatever is bound in the ignorant state, it is what is emptying out right now, and it is not his fault whatsoever. And the other is saying, when can you give natural and spontaneous forgiveness? That in any kind of worldly interaction with a person, you can see the causal parts, you can see the effect parts, you can see the effect of the effect. And in all three of them, you can see that they are not at fault whatsoever. You can see that completely like that. As a pure soul, he is completely faultless, and in the effect of the karma as well as in the effect of the effect, it is actually a stock of physical karma that is emptying out, and you can see them completely faultless in all of those. So there is natural and spontaneous forgiveness, and that is the state that Mahatmas will have to reach. Only then will they be able to attain liberation in one lifetime. As long as you see faults in other people, that is actually not considered discharge in reality. If you don't realize that it is your fault, it is not going in discharge, it is actually remaining tremendously pending. And if you see, even if you see the people who are at fault, you see them as faultless, only then will your mistake clear and you will be able to progress on the path of liberation. Do you all understand this? That in our daily interaction, if you see anybody at fault, then you should sit for an hour, sit for a samayik, and see that it is your own fault and clear it that way. Only then will you be able to progress. This is something that is worth noting down, that you should not see anybody's fault whatsoever. You should not see anybody's negative whatsoever. And the fact that you're seeing it, it is your ego. If I get some kind of respect, then I see positive, 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 positive. And if I get insulted, then I only see negative, negative, negative. If I get things according to my will, then it's all positive. And if I don't get things according to my will, then it's all negative. If somebody asks me, can you do this? Then you say, obviously you can do it. But if they don't ask you, then you say, oh, they're doing things according to their will, and they don't ask me. And there's just, but if they ask you, you're going to say yes. If you're the one who's saying yes, and you're the one who's saying no, then if your pride is sustained, then you are positive. If your pride is not sustained, then it's negative. But in the ignorant state, you were doing this in worldly life anyway. And over here, if you, in the place where you can actually become clean, if we don't clear this, then when will you actually become pure? So this is where we want to become aware. Adipapa, you talked over here that with the other Prakriti, if I cannot forgive the other Prakriti, then how can I actually forgive my own Prakriti? Is there a connection there? In these two things, we want to maintain equanimity. We have to maintain equanimity. You keep it here in yourself, and if somebody is blaming you, then over there you also maintain equanimity. But you have to maintain equanimity in both places. So now, Dimpleba is asking that if will we misuse the Prakriti in some that I don't forgive the other Prakriti, it's still staying from within, but I've forgiven my own Prakriti. No, that is left, actually it's lacking, it's missing over here. That you don't want to criticize your own Prakriti. What Ketan Bhai was saying, that there's a level, I get to a stage where I automatically forgive other people, and then I will be able to forgive myself. Then if I keep seeing faults in other people, then and I forgive myself, then that is with the intellect. Is it possible? Yes, Deepak is confirming. Yes, it is possible. That can happen. Over here, the second level is there, that don't see anybody at fault, don't see anybody is negative, and then only will the separation reduce. When you become separate, then at the fourth level is where you actually forgive your own prakriti. So to forgive your own prakriti is at the fourth level. And at the second level, you're automatically forgiving the other. When you see the other person's prakriti at faultless, and you say that no, I'm at fault. It is my ego that is at fault. It is because my pride is being satisfied. That is why I am seeing everybody as faultless. And otherwise, when my pride is not being satisfied, then I'm seeing everybody as fault. I should understand that actually there is an evidence and they are faultless. So it is true that the opposite prakriti, only when you see the opposite prakriti as faultless, then I should check and see where is the fault in it. I cannot see faults in anyone else. But if there's something bad of mine that comes out, I feel, oh, why still like this? Then I tell, then the prajna warns me from me, no, that it is the garbage of Deepak. So we try and clear the causes of that. There's no point in becoming irritated with the conduct of the prakriti. So then immediately from within it happens that no, I don't want to have abhorrence towards the prakriti, but you have the firm resolve that I don't want to repeat this kind of mistake in any kind of situation whatsoever. That's it. For the outside people, they've got no kind of, there's no intellect that is going on. For other people on the outside, only then will you be able to come inside. So for the people outside, everyone should be seen as flawless. And until you see other people's faults, it is clear that you are in the fault state. Then forget forgiving the prakriti even, and in reality, in what state can you actually forgive the prakriti? The one who has cleared his I-ness, the potapanu, the one who has stopped hurting other people, he has stopped seeing faults in other people, he has got no, at the third level, even he's finding nothing sweet in the worldly life. That's a third level. He's completely become separate. Yet in some places, oh, yet this is still happening. He's cleared so many faults of his own for sexuality, for pride, for greed. Yet Vishay comes out, or yet greed comes out. And then you say, oh, still this much intensity, this much stickiness. That is when you need to forgive it. And that is one step level, that where you are actually forgiving your own prakriti. That is at the fourth level. So Dimple Bhai is confirming this is touching at the fourth level. That is exactly like that. When you become separate, when you're not engrossed in the prakriti, when it is happening, at that point in time you're believing, oh, why is it still happening to me? At that point in time, you're saying, no, it is of Deepak. Why are you getting engrossed in Deepak? Come on, become separate. Now it is Deepak's that is separate, and you understand it is stock of his failed karma. There's no point, there's no point in having attachment over it or abhorrence over it. You just need to maintain equanimity. So to remain as a knower and seer, that you have become that. But the developing I, the one in the form of prajna, you are staying as a knower and seer. Only then can you recognize the faults of the prakriti. But now the developing I, and this is coming afterwards, just now, that even you yourself, when you become the form of God, when you become the embodiment of God, the body, the pudgal, the belief atma, the one who is yourself, that has to become like the form of the jnani, the one that does not get engrossed. So first you become separate from that with the prajna, and then you become separate yourself. So even at the relative level, at the nischay level, we've attained the 12th level. But when the vyavhar, at the worldly interaction, when it comes to the 12th level, that is when you will attain completeness. At that point in time, the anger first clears, then pride clears, then deceit clears, and as greed clears, then you will reach the higher stages. Deepak Bhai, on page 87, it's saying that forgive the prakriti. What is the questioner saying here? The other is saying that doing the pratikraman is the one doing the pratikraman. So he is asking for the forgiveness for the fault that has happened. So the one who is forgiving is the God, and the one who is asking for forgiveness is the prakriti. So Deepak Bhai is saying that Snehal, you have spoken that speech. The speech is of the Mangaldas, and the Bhavo, the interim state, the ignorant Bhavo, the Snehal, is the one who has made the mistake. So you tell Snehal, you ask for forgiveness. So you've become the state of the pure soul. So you're God. So how are we forgiving the Prakriti in this case? That is true. that comes in there, that you forgive the Prakriti. But in reality, you're saying that, oh, why is this speech still coming out? There you want to separate it. The one who is speaking that speech, you forgive the one who's speaking that speech. That you're speaking negatively over here, but I'm not claiming on you. Yes, you should do pratikraman, you repent, and you do the firm resolve not to repeat this mistake. So before you were having abhorrence over your own Prakriti, that is the part we're trying to lift away. That we don't want to have an abhorrence here, we want to maintain equanimity here. The hatred for the Prakriti should not be there. So you talk to your Prakriti like a friend, just like you would talk to a friend, and he's hurting you with speech. Then you tell him, oh, that why don't you become so good? Everything else of you is so good, but this speech of yours, sometimes you talk like this and it hurts other people. If he's your friend, how would you talk to him? Over a child, you might get irritated with it because you believe it's my child. But for your friend, you don't get irritated with your friend. He's your friend. And if he listens to you, it's great. And if he doesn't listen to you, then it's okay. He will go to his whatever. He'll do whatever he wants. It's exactly like that over here. So you don't have any abhorrence towards your Prakriti. You don't have any contempt over your Prakriti. You actually explain to it. And then you leave the decision up to him. And that is when the Prakriti is doing the pratikraman and he's asking for the forgiveness. And as you, as a pure soul, you're forgiving it. That I am not having any abhorrence towards you. You clear your part. So that is the level of where you actually forgive the Prakriti over here. But over there, where you were believing that why is it happening to me, that part you are separating. That from my part, I have no commotion for you. I'm not nagging you in any way. I want to settle that with equanimity. So here it is not talking about giving forgiveness, but the claim that you had that, oh, why is this happening to me? Why is this still happening? Why is this not improving? That is the part that this is talking about it. You're saying that, oh, Dada Bhagwan, I'm asking for forgiveness. And by asking for forgiveness, that fault is being cleared. The Prakriti is clearing that fault. But where we're believing that why is it still happening to me? Or why is it still not stopping? That is where we want to bring the separation. That no, I don't want to criticize it. I don't want to keep goading him. Over there, sometimes even I get so irritated. Oh, Deepak, why is this still happening to you? Do pratikraman and don't eat now at night. So before he used to do that. And nothing of that would improve. So he was doing that for so many years. And he realized that it's not the right way to do this. And when I stopped having abhorrence towards the Prakriti, because this abhorrence is a kind of illusionary attachment. It is some kind of more. And when the abhorrence stopped, it started reducing very speedily. Then there's no kind of engrossment in remembering it all the time. You're not holding on to it. So then after 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, when it arises, then I see it. Oh, you've come back again? This was not going to work over here, I have no interest in all of these things. So it goes away. But before, there was abhorrence that, why is it not going? So when you become, even over here, you have to bring yourself to the level of dvesh, to become free of abhorrence. So when the abhorrence stops, then the Prakriti will automatically do its own thing. And I can actually see that the Prakriti is doing its work the way it's doing, and it is actually shedding off. It's exhausting. But before I was getting irritated. Oh, this should not happen. Why is it still happening? So that is all in stepping. So in the beginning, that was correct. And then as I slowly get the experience, and now this talk over here is actually fitting is actually setting in. Then there's, towards the Prakriti, there's natural and spontaneous forgiveness. So for example, if he goes and does something wrong, then he's actually agreeing that he's doing something wrong, and he's actually repenting. So you are telling him that, okay, now you just firmly decide you're not going to repeat that mistake. He doesn't even remember that you've actually forgiven him or that he's at fault. I'm not that whatsoever. So I'm staying in my pure focused awareness, in my Shuddha pure. Deepak Bhai, when other people's Prakriti is seen at fault, yet you're also seeing your own Prakriti at fault and the suffering is arising, but he's taking some kind of reassurance that you kind of side with your mistake, and then you're saying that, oh, I forgive the Prakriti. Then I feel some kind of coolness. It's helping me over there. It's okay, continue with that. But you should understand, Deepak Bhai saying that there's so many other garbage that you need to clear over here. I feel that this forgiving the Prakriti is actually helping. The fact that you become separate, it will help you to cool the Prakriti down. But over here, we're trying to improve the Prakriti. We're seeing it at fault. We're still actually pressing it down. We're pressuring it down. And we want to come out of that. Gradually, we want to come out of doing that. Deepak Bhai, if the opposite person is like a mirror to us, and if what we cannot see, they're actually showing us that. Now, if they show me my mistake, at that point in time, our signature is there that I want to come out of that this mistake is happening. So what should we do over there? Then you should talk to the Prakriti Deepak by saying that talk to Deepak. That Deepak is it's true, but they're saying that it is our mistake. So we should take care and we should make a change over here, and we should decide that we should not want to hurt anyone. We should have the worldly interaction in such a way that it doesn't hurt anyone. So whoever has made the mistake, tell them. Why should you take it on your head? When the ego takes it on its head, that is when it erupts. Now, if you have the awareness of Prajna Shakti, then the ego will actually accept that this is a mistake. It will not listen to the intellect. When it listens to the intellect, that it is your fault, it's the intellect that is listening first. And the intellect then makes the ego erupt and saying, oh, you took out my mistake? But if the prajna is present, that then you will say, no, Deepak, it's correct, it's your mistake. So many mistakes are happening. And if they are showing you your mistake, then why don't you accept it? Why don't you look at it and see where it is and make the improvement there? So when you stay in the seat of the prajna, then Deepak talk to you, and you talk to Deepak, then he will accept it. There's no reaction coming back. But when the intellect shows him, then the ego holds on to it and says, you showed me my mistake. Why don't you see your mistake? You are full of mistakes. Who are you to tell me something like that? And there are so many negative connotations that keep going on. But when you come into the seat of prajna, in the awareness of prajna, when prajna tells you that, Deepak, it's your mistake, why don't you accept it? Then it doesn't take long for the ego to accept it. So when it doesn't accept, when it doesn't forgive the Prakriti, if I react back, then I'm not forgiving the Prakriti, right? You've not seen them at fault, right? Forget. You've automatically forgiven them. If I go and pressurize my own Prakriti, then only you need to forgive it. But over here, no, you're saying that, okay, I forgive you. But you're seeing them at fault, and only then are you forgiving. But here you're not seeing them at fault whatsoever. So there's no need to give any forgiveness, is there? This is a very subtle talk over here, subtle point over here. Whichever, don't go and tell everyone, all the big people, that you walk like this. Understand that it's a car that to say that I'm forgiving you, you're seeing them at fault. That is why you're forgiving them. That, oh, I'm forgiving you. That is okay at the gross level. But in the ultimate level, there is natural and spontaneous forgiveness. And in natural and spontaneous forgiveness, you do not see anyone at fault whatsoever. Even when he comes to ask for forgiveness, if somebody has thrown, Dada says, if somebody has thrown coals at us, and if we look at it, they can only see coolness in my eyes. That I don't see them at fault whatsoever. I don't see them in the form of at fault. I only feel love for them. And they feel only love from me. They don't have to come to ask for forgiveness, because our vision is such that he feels that I don't see them at fault whatsoever. He has not done any fault whatsoever. So that is called natural and spontaneous forgiveness. The fact that you give forgiveness, that is called forgiveness. And nature has set up this ritual. But when you go further, that you have no abhorrence towards it whatsoever. Whether he insults you, no abhorrence towards him. No matter what kind of pride he gives you, respect he gives you, there's no attachment towards him. You're only the embodiment of love. And when you're the embodiment of love, there is natural and spontaneous forgiveness, and that prevails within him. He prevails within him, and everybody can feel that there is so much love and oneness with this person. There is no separation here whatsoever. And it says, Niruma, if Niruma is holding the divan and the light falls on my hand, who will I see anyone at fault over here? I am not separate from you, whether it's happened by you or whether it's happened by me. We are one over here, and they will feel the vibration, they will feel that echo, that there is this oneness here. And Dada used to say that from my end, if you have to do any pratikraman for me, that situation will never arise. Even if you might have a doubt arising within you, you ask for forgiveness, that's a different part. But from my end, that you feel that, oh, Dada has been hurt by me, that I'll have to do pratikraman. No, from Dada's side, there's nothing like that whatsoever. There's nothing like that. I don't feel any hurt whatsoever. I don't see you at fault whatsoever. I don't see anyone at fault whatsoever. So it is natural and spontaneous forgiveness. You don't have to give forgiveness, and the other person doesn't need to ask for forgiveness. That is what he is prevailing in. Let's read further.
Who can bind the one who does not want to be bound? Questioner. That is correct. But what if one cannot see all aspects of one's own Prakriti? Then, page 73, Dadashri, if they are not seen, then they will eventually be seen after taking a beating. Questioner. Only a particular part cannot be seen. Dadashi, it will be seen again. It will be seen in the next life. How can everything be seen? However much is seen, for all that, a party should be given, that these many were seen.
So you should be happy. Come on, give a party. Instead, you're feeling unhappy that, oh, why is it still happening over here? You should be so happy that you saw the fault. Now you've seen the fault, it will go and you will become free. So give a party, Dada's saying.
The rest is not seen. Some can be seen, can they not? Questioner. Loads and loads are seen, Dada. Dadashi. So then throw a party for everyone. Act in accordance with the language of the Lord. Do not see, what is it that I do not have? See, what is it that I have?
Come on, write this down. Where will you write it down? That's the question that will arise next. But you should stay in your awareness that the fact that this has arisen, we've got this beautiful, great knowledge, this great awareness, we've got this energy to actually see our own faults. So why should we be unhappy now? What do you not have? Is there any point in saying that, oh, you're saying that, oh, I still don't know how to do this, I still don't know how to do samayik. Can you do some pratikraman? Can you see your faults? Yes. Can you do the vidhis? Yes. Can you read the speech? Yes. Can you come to satsang? Yes. Can you come to shivers? Yes. Are the clashes with the family stopping? Yes. Then why are you screaming and shouting that I can't do samayik? If you can't do it now, you'll be able to do it later. Be happy about the things you can do. So why don't you progress in that which you have? Don't worry about the things you don't have.
Now, what was it that you were telling me that I cannot see? Questioner. So a particular part of it is seen, which has never been seen before. When that is seen, what is seen, then it feels as though Prakriti like this has only been seen today. Then there must be so much that is still remaining within. Dadashi. That is fine, but you ought to give a party precisely for the fact that it was seen. However, how can this ever be possible? How can it ever be seen? For this to be seen is not an easy thing. Questioner. Sometimes you get such a vision from Dadashi that it points out an entirely new direction altogether. In conversation, in some ordinary satsang, or even personally, you get such vision that it points out a new direction that, wow, this corner was overlooked. Dadashi. In satsang, all the discussion comes forth in the common sense. It is not directed towards one individual. In that, it is different for each individual. It is different for everyone. It is different for each and every person. Heading. The Gnan or the Gnani gets rid of the Prakriti.
What is the rule over here? That if one layer is gone, then another layer will come up, will arise. So the fact that you don't see anything, don't be unhappy about that. As much as is seen is gone, it will go away. And as that empties up, something else will come up. You will see that and that will go. So gradually the subtler vision is coming up. So whether it's 1 year, 2 years or 10 years, what you could see on the first day, based on that, today you're seeing a lot more. What you could understand before, today you can understand a lot more. So a higher state will come gradually. So there's no point in staying in any kind of suffering. Instead, stay in happiness, stay in bliss, and be happy for the things that you have seen. Understand it and be in happiness.
Even this will have to be understood completely. In the presence of thousands of people, if someone were to say, Chandubai has no sense, and you feel like blessing him that, wow, I knew that Chandubai had no sense, but he knows that too. This is when the separation will prevail. We acknowledge this person every day.
This is so beautiful. For Dad has given us a master key for this insult in so many different satsangs. This is one way of doing that. That, oh, Chandubai is your neighbor, and you know that he does not have any sense. But if somebody else shows him that, then the ego arises. And here you want to set the awareness that what I know today, even he knows now. So that Chandubai has no sense over here. It is Chandubai's talk that he's the one who does not have sense. I know that and he knows that. And at that point in time, you will not be affected. That it's happening to Chandubai. I am pure soul and that other person is pure soul. When you don't get affected, at that point in time, the awareness of separation stays and the paramanus of insult have gone or exhausted and you've progressed on your stage of knowledge.
When we acknowledge this person every day, on a rare occasion we will not acknowledge him. What is the reason for that? It is so that he has a thought that, I wonder why today, That is when he will realize that he can actually remain separate. These are the kind of keys we, the Jnani Purush, give. We elevate him and bring him down, elevate him and bring him down, and in doing so, he will experience the Jnana. All these activities of ours are so that he comes into the experience of Jnana. They are different for each person, depending on their prakriti.
What Dada is showing over here is saying that he will say, oh, come, 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 one day. And then the third day, he may not even call him like that. So when the other person, when he says, welcome, welcome, he will come and sit in front. So one day when he's not called, he will sit at the back. So from within, he's got some kind of suffering going on that, oh, Dada didn't call me today. But Dada says this is some art of ours. So when we tell you, then your stock of fill karma of the pride arises. And when you don't call you, then from within you get the botheration, you get this penance. So you actually improve or you move up in your knowledge. That is what the Jnani does. He elevates you and then he brings you down. So he brings the pride out and then he will let you settle it with equanimity. And Niruma would also do the same thing. She would provoke the other person in such a way that the ego will arise. And then that part will clear out. That kashai will clear out for that person. And Niruma and Dada used to do that. That was correct. And I don't have to do that. That even for me, I try and do I try and help my neighbor very nice, but don't try and provoke your neighbor. Nature is automatically doing that for you. So all the people coming next to you are such that they will insult you in some way. If you've gone 2 or 3 steps on pride up, then 2 or 3 steps of they will bring you down. The people around you will automatically bring you down. So this is an art of Dada, one kind of art of Dada's. And in one place, Dada is also saying that those people who are close to us, when they come and stick to us, then I want to ensure that they don't go into worldly kind of attachment. So I want to make them have prashastarag. So I help them take out get rid of their garbage and help them progress on the path of liberation. It is his art. That they don't get stuck into worldly attachment or pride or all of these things. So he will show them their mistakes in this way.
Questioner. Yes, according to the Prakriti. Page 74. Dadashi. That is definitely how they should be, should they not? That Prakriti should surely go away, should it not? The Prakriti will certainly have to be gotten rid of. How long can something that does not belong to you remain with you? Questioner. That is true. There is no other option besides getting rid of the Prakriti. Dadashi. Yes. Nature has taken ours out. The Jnana has taken ours out. Yours will only go away when we take it out. We are the nimit.
Dada's saying over here in 1987, he talked about it in one place, that until now, he was talking about the Prakriti, that we're helping you get rid of this Prakriti and progress in Jnana. Now I'm going to turn my back on you. I've done whatever I could for you. Now nature will do the rest for you. You will get those kind of circumstances that arise because you have that ego within you. Nature will not refrain from making you break that. And this is the grace of the Jnani, that he helped us to progress. He gave us a little bit of this awareness to help us get rid of that garbage. And he did that for very close people like Niruma, who were very close to him. Dada would only give cautionary hints to those people, but for the public, he could not give the cautionary hints there. So then somebody asked Dada, how will the rest of the people get rid of all of their garbage? So what does nature mean on this way? That it would be all the people coming together. Local people will come together and help them get rid of their garbage. So this is a natural law. That you do the action for the service, the activity of service. You're doing it because of the causes of your past karma. But because of today's ignorance, there is the doership in there. The ego arises that, oh, I did so nicely. That ego will be broken by nature. So that discharge, Vyavasthit will make you do that discharge, and the ego will also be broken by Vyavasthit. All those evidences will come together in such a way that they will blame you, they will show you a mistake, you will feel some kind of suffering. At that point in time, you don't have to let go of the work of the service that you're doing, but lift up the ego, lift up the lack of understanding, the ego that has arisen because of ignorance, that you want to set the knowledge that the fact that he's doing the service is Vyavasthit, that I am a pure soul and Deepak is separate and I am separate, and when the blame is coming, the blame is coming for the ego, and I want to lift away the ego. The one who is doing it, then Vyavasthit is making him do it. And when we get rid of this, Dada is saying that then you will be rid of it. But over here, when people help you get rid of your things, over there you should let the garbage go. Don't protect that garbage. Don't protect it. Let's read further.
We are the nimit. Much of it is gone. You still have to do pratikraman at night.
He's talking with that person that, oh, that tonight you will have to do pratikraman, will you not? Or you still have to do pratikraman. So I have to sit at night all lie long. I do Dada's Nididhyasan. I visualize Dada. I do a lot of pratikraman. That's what the man is saying. That is why it's your mistake.
Therefore, they are your mistakes, which now have to be removed gradually. They do come into realization later on, do they not? When we do not call you saying, "Come, Chandabai," then you should understand that I have been cautioned. And when we speak, your Prakriti continues to emerge. When we say to him, "Come, Chandabai," then the Prakriti springs out. It takes on an air of importance. But then, for you, it is not bound. It is not bound again. After it is gone, then it is not bound again. You do not have to become engrossed in that. It is for this reason that one day we do that. We do not say anything, so then it diminishes.
That is why Niruma has written in this that whether when you say that come over here or come here, that is when the grace has fallen on me. When you tell me to go away at that point in time, it is your compassion that is actually prevailing so much. When you're telling me, then I feel the grace for you. That is when the pride arises. And when he tells you to go away, then you have so much suffering that at that point in time there is a lot of compassion, and this is going to clear away with compassion. And there's such a beautiful song over here that this Tagore, this cautionary hint that Dada is giving, she's written in this actual song. So over here it is compassion, that 4 days he talks to you, on the 5th day he doesn't call you, he doesn't acknowledge you. Then this is all the experiments that he's done on Niruma, that when he's got a lot of compassion, that is when he does this kind of experiment. So he's got the grace, and then there is also compassion, Krupa and Karuna.
Questioner, these are all the medicines. Dada Shri, yes. Questioner, in this, Dada does not have any attachment, nor does he have any abhorrence. Dada Shri, well, there's bound to be some Prakriti.
Over here, what he's talking about this one particular person, that I may call you once, or I may acknowledge you once, and then I may not acknowledge you another time. Then for some good people, we have to do this. We actually look after them. Otherwise, other people will come over and pressurize him, or they will step over him. This is the talk that is coming on now.
Those people who are worthy, certain people, we need to tell them, we need to look after them. Otherwise people will shatter them. People are meddlesome, are they not? It's not like everyone is able to meddle, right? Therefore, we have to remain biased. We are actually vitrag, but we have to remain biased for a reason. No harm should happen to anyone. If we hold one person in check in this way,
on the day when Dada does not actually acknowledge them, then other people will make note, oh, that he's like that. So other people will actually see negative of Dada. But actually people may not understand Dada's art. He's actually clearing the fault of this person, and people have taken it the wrong way. And people have actually done that. They've actually looked at Dada in the wrong way and taken it incorrectly. But here Dada is actually giving his grace on this person to make him free of his illness. When it's happened, then you don't even realize it. On the day when it's happening, for 2-3 years, he doesn't even realize. But after a few years, he gets the reasoning that, oh, it was our art that was happening to get him free of his illness. Until that point in time, that person is feeling a lot of penance, and the part that has erupted, the stock of Vilkarma that's erupted, will exhaust out. We will stop over here. We will take a break here. There's a...
Now let us talk about samayik. Interference. Our known and old topic, and our favorite topic. Let us take it into samayik from morning till evening. Where are we interfering? The car is moving very naturally, and then you are interfering and obstructing the moving car. That is called interference. Trying to improve, trying to stop, trying to change is all interference. And if it happens, then also you must realize that Deepak's intellect interfered. You should see it separate, that Deepak used his intellect and interfered. You are separate and the interferer is separate. But if you don't see it as separate, then it will remain pending because you are getting involved in that interference. It is ideal if the interference does not happen, but if it does happen, then keep it separate. Because of ignorance, lack of awareness, and lack of understanding, you are interfering. Oh, don't do it this way, do it this way. He's already doing it properly, then why are you nagging? Now, to interfere in the other person is one aspect, to interfere in the other person, and the second part is to interfere in your own prakriti. Both of these you want to cleanse, but at least first step is to not interfere with other people. Then eventually even your own self you don't want to interfere. To interfere with your own self is how? For example, if these fritters I love them, I like them, these jalebis, sweet items, I like them. So that I dislike is all interference. I didn't like this at all is also interference. Oh, I have to eat it because I have to fill up my stomach, but I didn't like this item at all. That is also interference. Actually, just intake and output is occurring naturally according to karmas. Now that I like and I dislike is all interference. I like this tea, I don't like this tea. Is all interference. You were supposed to just watch it. Does Deepak is Deepak comfortable with tea and is not comfortable with tea? You are supposed to just watch it. That is the knower seer state. And when you say I interfere and get involved, it is called a mistake. And you find mistakes with other people and criticizing other people and finding faults with other people is a big fat interference. Now then some people protect themselves. Oh, my prakriti is such that I always interfere. No, don't take protection like that. Now you should do pratikraman every time you interfere and make a firm decision that you don't want to interfere. Even in matters of food, in matters of going and coming, in matters of business, wherever there is interference, let us see it in samayik. And we are disturbing others by interfering. In fact, it is that other person's department. He's already doing everything properly. Then you are interfering. You should not be doing it this way. You should be doing it this way. If it's teamwork, then we should all sit down together and find out the best solution. And everybody give the viewpoint, and then let's do according to what the majority's decision after discussion. Now, because of interference, the whole atmosphere gets spoiled. Now let us see our interferences in file number 1 also. And I don't like this, I never do it this way. That is all interference. What Dada says, that she shows a simple design, that if the cigarette is being smoked, it is the prakriti smoking. Now you don't say that you should drink smoke, or neither are you saying that don't smoke, because you are commenting upon something that is not under your control. Doing, you should do or you should not do, both are interferences. What we are teaching, that every time you smoke, just repent about it, because he is not smoking, circumstances are making him smoke. So you are just saying that you should just say that no, this is not the right thing to do. Now the control of smoking or not smoking is in the hands of Vyavasthit. So we are just giving the right understanding that every time you smoke, just do repentance. Now what is happening by itself in the Prakriti, if you comment and say that you should smoke, or why did you smoke and why do you not smoke, or you should or should not smoke, that is called interference. Now in our Charan Vidhi, there is a sentence that subtle evidences, gross evidences, gross circumstances, subtle circumstances, and circumstances of speech are separate than me and they are not under my control. Now that means that they are in the hands of Vyavasthit. What is in the hands of Vyavasthit? If you say do this or don't do that, or I will do this and I will not do that, that is all interference. Seeing what is happening is Gnan. Now I want to do, I don't want to do, I don't do, that is all interference. Interference will happen, because that also we are putting in the Prakriti's department, that because of the previous knowledge you will end up interfering many times. Your today's knowledge is that I don't want to interfere. It was not worth interfering and I interfered. So then if you recognize your interferences, that is also a very good awareness. While you stay in this awareness, slowly, all the interferences will stop. What is called as progress in Gnan? The more the interference is stopped, that is called progress in Gnan. In all other people's matters also, or file number one's matters also. To the extent that your interference is decreased, to that extent you have made progress. Let us recognize the interferences today, and where are you disturbing other circumstances, and where are you interfering. Let us check on that. Other people also, with other people also, and with ourselves also. We will check that in samayik. Do you understand, everybody? Yes. We are talking about interference a lot in the last 4 to 6 months during Guru Purnima's message, during daily satsangs also. We have been focusing a lot on interference. Now let us see that in today's samayik as well. I like this and I don't like this, and this suits me, this does not suit me. I will not tolerate this and I will tolerate this. If somebody is driving, it's a red signal, stop, stop, stop. And the person who is driving already knows how to drive. Why are you doing backseat driving? Now, what you know, you think you trying to, you have an ego about that, so you try to change the other person. If you don't know something about the computer, you are just observing how the repairer of the computer is doing. You are not interfering at all. Why? Because you know that you are very clear that I don't know anything about computers, so let him repair it the way he wants. Now, about cooking, you think you know a lot, so you are interfering. Don't do it this way, cook it this way, don't put this ingredient, don't put that ingredient. So when you think you know about something, then that person has more tendency to interfere. But to find out mistakes and what is happening is interference. Let us check where we are interfering. See, the other lady said that if there is a hyper child, then also she is faults with what is occurring. Dada is saying that I am seeing the world as innocent and you are finding faults. Now you are wanting to turn back now. Let us turn back and let us do samayik with focused awareness. This is a beautiful science. What a wonderful science. And the more we come out of this interference, the more experience stages you will climb. Let us now do Vidhi. O Dada Bhagwan. O Shri Simandar Swami Prabhu. With the focused awareness of the self in file number 1's Prakruti, according to Vyavasthit, whatever actions are occurring, in that I like and I dislike that aspect. When there is interferences like that, give me the strength to do such a samayik. In other people's matters, according to that person's Prakruti, if he is doing some actions by finding faults with him, and whatever such interferences are occurring like this, give me the strength to see all this in samayik. Wherever interferences occur, may I keep alive the awareness of the Gnan, may I keep separation awareness, and may this kind of interference never happen. May I keep such awareness. Give me the strength to do such a samayik. My mind, body and speech and all my worldly illusionary attachments, bhav karma, dravya karma, no karma. O Dada Bhagwan, at your enlightened Supreme Lord's divine lotus feet, I surrender. I am pure soul, I am pure soul, I am pure soul. Ma chung shuttat, 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 ma chung Shuddhatma 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 Chung Chung Shuddhatma 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 Chung Jai Satchidanand Jai Satchidanand. Seeing faults, finding mistakes, it's all interference. Go in subtleness and make a firm determination that may I reach the state of non-interference, and may Dada's blessings be showered upon me. When you are becoming interfereless, without interference, then Dada's blessings